1, 2. It's Nutritionist Trisha Mandes here, and I am beyond thrilled to have Craig and Sari Ness here with me. They are such wonderful people, but how we met and how they came to be clients of mine was, Craig and I like to say, a God moment. But Craig Ness is 58 years old. He's the Director of Content and Operations of South Carolina Public Television, also known as ESG or ETV. Is that correct, Craig, in South
Yeah,
Carolina?
in Sumter. I'm the
In
director over in Sumter.
Thank you. And Sumter. And he's also the director of the show Making It Grow, which is a show that I've been on and absolutely adore because they teach people all about plants all throughout South Carolina. And Sari Ness is his beautiful, wonderful wife, and she's 55 and she's a Spanish teacher. Thank you both so much for being here and sharing your experiences with us. I'm really glad that you're here.
Glad to be here.
Glad to be here.
So let's start off with Craig, I love the story of how you even became a client. So I went on the show Making It Grow, and I needed a ride to the airport after we filmed 2 episodes. You weren't supposed to be the person that drove me to the airport, but Sean, for whatever reason, wasn't available, and you ended up being my driver. Thank you very much for driving me an hour to the airport, by the way. But can you share what was our car ride like? Why did that feel like a God moment for us?
It
I would
was a,
love
a
to hear
God
it in your own words.
incident, a God
Yeah.
incident, definitely. And it just made sense for me to take you because I actually live in Lexington, South Carolina, which is close to the airport. And Sean would have had to driven there and back to Sumter. So I volunteered to take you. And we had this conversation about, I was, really moved and impressed by what you had prepared. And I expressed my concerns about my own health and weight and how I want to lose weight. I have lost it before using different programs, but when I've used it recently, I have not had success. So we had essentially you did an evaluation about me as a prospective client on our ride over. And by the time we were at the airport, I was sold, I was ready.
Beautiful. Yes, it was. You really opened up about your health challenges and what your goals were, and you were really, really ready to go. Now, if you're comfy sharing now, what was going on with your health and your weight at that time that you were actually even concerned about for yourself?
I I uh I had been successful losing weight in the past. I lost weight before our son was born. I lost weight again in 2009 when I needed to lose some weight. And unfortunately, after my mother passed, um, what do you do when you're depressed or sad? You eat. And what do people do when there's a funeral or you lost a loved one? They bring food.
Mm-hmm.
And so that happened, and that sort of contributed to my weight regain. And then in 2015, lost my father also, and so it just sort of compounded. And then in 2020, we were all dealing with COVID, and I also was diagnosed with prostate cancer. So I had surgery, and then for that procedure, it was the Da Vinci robotics. They inflate your stomach, and I
Mm-hmm.
was joking with one of my cousins who's a nurse at the Mayo Clinic that I said they expanded my stomach and it didn't go back down.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried doing different programs to get the weight back off, no success. And I was having to order larger clothes, no energy, just get tired very easily.
Yeah,
And
I remember in the car ride talking about they were asking you what are those things that you don't have the energy to do right now that you wish that you could. Do you remember what your answers were at that time?
there's so many things. I have a little sailboat. I have some kayaks and a canoe. I
Mhm.
haven't had the energy to do that.
Mhm.
I haven't had any inclination to do that. And I, I haven't mowed our yard since my surgery
Mhm.
because I would get worn out.
Mhm.
So we've been paying for a lawn service, and we're thankful because he's wonderful. But that's something that I enjoyed doing. I enjoyed doing cutting the grass and stuff. I haven't been able to do it.
Right.
Um,
So thank you so much for sharing that. So 2014 and then 2015, you lost both of your parents. That contributed to weight gain, just coping with those really challenging emotions. And then in 2020, the prostate cancer surgery. So it was a decade then of really big life challenges. And then the weight was not, it was compounding, and then it
Yeah.
was moving, and it was affecting your ability to take care of your house and do
Mhm.
the physical things that you love to do. So you and Sari decided to join. And Sari, at that point, was this something that by your own inclination that you would have wanted to do?
Absolutely not.
But tell us,
Because
why did you decide to actually join? And how were you feeling at that point with your health?
um well, I saw how excited Craig was, and it's always easier to have a partner. I have high blood pressure, uh depression, what else? Considered morbidly obese.
Mhm.
Uh if I was 7 feet tall, I would be the perfect weight, but that's not the case. Uh, Chest pain, um, just a lot of things. And we have an amazing son, and I just didn't want to miss any time with him. My mom um, passed away about 6 weeks after Craig was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And, you know, food was my comfort. It was my go-to. It was when I was sad or happy or bored, um, all those things. And especially in the South, I mean, everything is fried. Um, it was very hard on me emotionally. Um, our son was working in Germany and bought tickets for us to go over. And I got so winded just walking. It wasn't even up a hill. And I would have to stop because I couldn't even catch my breath.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. So you were at a point where struggling with depression, chest pain, shortness of breath, not even walking up a hill, excess weight. And I remember both of you, a big motivator for both of you was, we want to make sure we're around and have the ability to be with our son. And God willing, if you end up having a grandchild one day, you want to be there. So family was a really big motivator for you, even though Sari, at that point, this is something you would not have done on your own. But I love my man. I love my son. I'm going to do this. So y'all took a really big leap of faith that I'm really honored that you did that with me. I know that was also not an easy decision to even move forward, but you did, and y'all did it together as a team, which is wonderful. So it has been, Sari, you've been eating Optly for 9 weeks. Craig has been eating Optly for about 9.5 weeks. I want to hear from both of you. What results have you achieved? So you just told us what was going on with your health a little over 2 months ago. So where are you at now? Craig, what we just talked about this right before this recording. How much weight loss have you lost now?
According to your records, I have lost 30 pounds. It's
Congratulations.
incredible.
Yes. So
It's really incredible.
in 9.5 weeks. Yeah. After those years of trying different things and it not working.
It, I'm just feeling better about myself, and in fact, that I've working with you, I've gotten back into some of my aerobic and strength training that I haven't done, and in fact, I when I was down like 22 pounds, I picked up the weights and took a picture and said I was carrying this around on my frame.
Mm-hmm.
And the other day I was out on location for a shoot and it was hot, and I came back in and I saw our host Amanda, and I said, "Can you imagine how I'd feel if I still had that 22 pounds?"
Mm-hmm.
But I have more energy now. I enjoy making a lot of stuff that we eat now. So, um, and Sari
I
likes she likes some of the desserts I make, and all
the
that's
daily
due to you.
dessert.
Yeah,
Yeah. And for those watching the videos, a daily dessert, it's something that satisfies your sweet tooth, but is optimal enough you can enjoy every single day. So it doesn't mean you don't get to enjoy things that are sweet, but they satisfy your cravings for sweets. And Craig, if you're okay with it, I would love to share your weight loss graph on the screen. Is that okay with you right now?
absolutely.
Okay, great. So that way people can get a view understanding of boom, this is Craig's results in 9.5 weeks. So you can see what the trajectory of his weight loss was like. That's amazing. And can you remind me, we were on the group call last night and you said you got rid of something. It was a term I had never heard before, and you were laughing
Oh,
at me about that.
well, I'm still it's still a work in progress, but
Yes.
it's called the Dunlap over. When your belly Dunlaps over your belt. But I must say that I was the heaviest I've ever been when I met you. I was hovering around 300, and I know that's not a healthy weight at all. I'm 6'1", and I know that's not healthy. And I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel because I'm shedding the weight, I'm exercising, and I'm regaining that energy that I've lacked.
And the
And
stamina.
yeah,
Yep, that's wonderful. You did an amazing, amazing job. And in the South, no less. So that's
hmm
fantastic. That's really great. And then Sari, your turn. I want to hear you. What results have you achieved in your 9 weeks of eating optimally?
I am proudly down by 22 pounds. Cannot even believe it. Um, Eating optimally is not as difficult as I thought it would be because I was skeptical about it.
Mhm.
But, you know, eating sweet potatoes, wheat waffles, maple syrup, you don't have to sacrifice things. And I am a very picky eater. And for me to try new things is a big challenge for me, but I've been doing it and it feels good.
And I know you love to dance, as do I. That's something that we have in common. How has your health improvements changed your ability to work out or move or enjoy your love of dance?
Okay, well, I went on YouTube and I found a beginner's video for Zumba.
Hmm.
And the first time I tried it, I did not last very long. And then I did it again. I got to 20 minutes. And yesterday I completed the whole 30 minutes and it felt really, really good.
Good.
And I know that in time I will uh, be able to get through it and be able to build up to longer periods of time because
Beautiful.
work.
Yeah, and you're doing it. You're doing 30 minutes of dance right now, which is wonderful. How, Sari, especially, would you say, if at all, working together has improved your self-esteem, how you talk to yourself, how you feel about yourself? Share some of that with us if you're comfortable with it.
Sure. I just like a lot of women put other people before myself. Um, and I really spent a lot of time saying negative things to myself. One of the things about your program is celebrating the good things that are happening.
Mhm.
And that for me was very difficult because I've had over 50 years of being critical of myself.
Mhm.
And slowly but surely, I am getting getting to the point that my comfort level um, has enabled me to stop those negative thoughts and just turn it around. So,
Beautiful. What would both of you say to the person watching this video that has struggled with weight almost their whole life, has tried what feels like every diet under the sun, but they really actually do want to shed pounds sustainably? They don't want to do a fad diet. They actually want it to work. They want to like what they're eating, because y'all aren't counting calories, you're not portion controlling, you're not buying pills or products from me. It's you're just eating. We're just making sure you're eating optimal food that you enjoy so you can do it long term. And Craig, you're doing it while you're working on the road, traveling for work. And Sarah, you did this while you're a teacher, etc. Y'all went on vacation and stayed at family's house during this time together. But what would you say to the person who is really scared to do this? They want the result, but they're scared to do this for yourself themselves. What would you say to that person?
Change is always a difficult thing and it can be scary.
Mhm.
But if you're open minded and you're willing to try it and you start seeing the results, it's very fulfilling to see the weight come off. I mean, as a testament, I'm wearing a shirt that a few weeks ago was too small for me. So I mean, the proof's in the pudding. It your system works, and I feel better about myself. Feel better about Sari, and I'm so thankful to you and having taken you to the airport. Our son saw my enthusiasm about it, and he could tell. He said, "Dad, I hadn't seen you that excited about exercise thing or losing weight," and he helped convince his mother. So
Beautiful. Sari, what would you say to the person right now who's maybe really scared or terrified or wants the result, but they're nervous to invest in themselves because they're not used to doing that? They're used to putting everyone else first. What would you say to that person?
I would say courage is not the lack of fear, but is doing something in spite of fear. And I was afraid. I was thinking, oh, this is just another way that I will eat lettuce for the rest of my life. And it was it was far from that. And having a partner in the house made a big difference. Um, Craig definitely keeps me motivated, um, because I see how happy he is, um, and how happy our son is for us. And he said, "You're going to be around longer for me." That makes a big difference to me.
So happy for you and for him, and really proud of you. Thank you for sharing that. Any final words? Anything else you either of you would like to say before we pause?
I I always liked oatmeal, but if I had known how beneficial it had been, I would have been eating it started much earlier. But I really enjoy and adding some date syrup to it, putting my blueberries or apples, banana. It's very tasty and very filling.
Beautiful. I'm happy to hear that you like what you're eating. You're satiated with it. And
Hmm. Hmm.
you're really happy to eat some things that you were avoiding, thinking they were hurting you. And you're like, I get to eat maple syrup, or, we're
Yeah,
making optimal pancakes and eating taters and corn and a lot of things that a lot of people avoid. So that's fantastic.
that's
Thank
one of the things. My favorite things is that on the Sundays we fix a whole wheat waffle and we use the maple syrup. The other program, I would have, blown my points allotment for the day,
you. Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
it's so delicious.
Good. I'm so glad. Sari, any parting words?
Uh, just trust yourself enough to take a leap.
Mm, beautiful. Thank you so much for being here, not just in the, in this interview, but for being clients of mine. I'm so happy for you both. It's been so fulfilling and meaningful to work with you. You're both a delight. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.